Hi, welcome to the Café du Monde International Business Plan presentation. In this presentation, we have Katie, Elissa, Drew, Raphael, Samira, and myself, Caleb. This presentation is meant to inform and enlighten you on all aspects of potential exportation of our business, Café du Monde. Café du Monde is a coffee shop first started in New Orleans, Louisiana. Coffee is consistently one of the world's favorite beverages and a major source of caffeine for many students, employees, and employers. Coffee continues to be huge in society's daily routine. Because of this, it makes sense for Café du Monde to integrate itself onto the international stage. This business plan has been prepared to demonstrate expansion readiness and lay out a scope of potential international markets. The coffee industry has a 5.5% annual business growth rate. This further verifies potential opportunities for international expansion. As stated earlier, Café du Monde has huge potential for international growth. Its decision to expand via franchising was the most feasible way for Café du Monde to get its product to penetrate the Mexican market.
Café du Monde is Louisiana's very own coffee that can be enjoyed anywhere in the world with its unique taste of coffee and combined chicory. The versatility of this coffee allows people to enjoy it any way they wish. Our group's long-term goals would be that we would be able to increase the sales of the coffee by 5% annually over the course of 5 years. Our short-term goal would be to enter into the Mexico market and increase sales by 10% within 2 years with the introduction of our coffee. We have entered into an action plan over the next few months to end in November. Our group has chosen Mexico to be our exporting country. Mexico has limited exporting controls in place and is the least restrictive of U.S. products. With the North American Free Trade Agreement, Mexico and the United States are in a free trade zone and there are no major export controls. Mexico and the United States has a very similar regime. Two important exporting standards to be aware of are the official Mexican standards and the Mexican standards. With Mexico being a dominant language of Spanish, it would be beneficial to add a Spanish label to our coffee to help alleviate any language barriers. The overall factor market assessment ended with Mexico having 165 factors, Canada 164, and France 162. Proving Mexico is the ideal country for us to export. With our two distribution partners, our product will be marketed and promoted to favorable consumers. Mexico consumers are looking for alternative coffee solutions and will find the availability convenient as well as enjoyable. For sales to be successful, there are different promotional and marketing that must take place and are very important to exposure. Café du Monde will need to be promoted by magazines, radio, television, newspapers, websites, and social media. With these different promotions being utilized, our product will be exposed in this global area. For the beginning of the promotion, sales or coupons can be offered to introduce the product to the market. A non-exclusive partnership will be the ideal relationship with our distribution partners. This will allow our company to market to all key markets.
Café du Monde specializes in coffee and beignets. The global market for hot beverages in terms of volume is projected to exceed 19 million tons by 2024 by a wealth of factors, encouraging increased frequency of consumption such as improving publicity surrounding the health benefits of drinking coffee. Our coffee was developed by the French during the Civil War. Coffee was scarce during these times, and they found that chicory added body and flavor to the coffee brew. The Acadians from Nova Scotia brought this taste and many other French customs to Louisiana. Our coffee is one of a kind. We use an ethyl acetate process to decaffeinate the coffee using our blend of coffee and chicory. Ethyl acetate is a natural chemical found in many fruits. In this process of decaffeination, the beans are steamed for about 30 minutes in order to open their pores. Once the coffee beans are receptive to the solvent, they are repeatedly rinsed in either methyl chloride or ethyl acetate for about 10 hours to remove the caffeine. Cafe du Monde sells coffee by the case. They have the Acadian case, the Lafayette case, and the St. Bernard case. The Acadian case is $184. The Lafayette case is $189, and the St. Bernard case is $199. The shipping cost sometimes depends on the weight. The market demand is inelastic because coffee can bear variability in pricing in part because it's a luxury good. Many coffees effectively use paid advertisement and coupons to reach new customers while still spending less than $100 a month. According to the Barista Magazine survey, the most popular paid advertising method for coffee shops is Facebook ads. The drop of the US dollar is felt around the coffee producing world as the wavering of this benchmark currency is leaving farmers with less and less income. Customers will still be able to afford coffee even if the US dollar appreciates. The difference between making cheap coffee and making great coffee is 11 cents per ounces versus 16 cents per ounces. But paying 60 cents to make a great cup of coffee seems like a bargaining because at a shop the price is about $2 or more. Coffee shops brought in approximately 25 billion last year. While the largest chains command the majority of sales, smaller chains such as Cafe du Monde earn a significant share of these revenues. To ensure the success of Cafe du Monde, it's essential to monitor the profit margins of the business. Doing so can help the community set sustainable targets. The market demand is inelastic because coffee can bear variability in pricing in part because it's a luxury good. Many coffees effectively use paid advertisement and coupons to reach new customers while still spending less than $100 a month. According to the Barista Magazine survey, the most popular paid advertising method for coffee shops is Facebook ads. The drop of the US dollar is felt around the coffee producing world as the wavering of this benchmark currency is leaving farmers with less and less income. Customers will still be able to afford coffee even if the US dollar appreciates. The difference between making cheap coffee and making great coffee is 11 cents per ounces versus 16 cents per ounces. But paying 60 cents to make a great cup of coffee seems like a bargaining because at a shop the price is about $2 or more. Coffee shops brought in approximately 25 billion last year. While the largest chains command the majority of sales, smaller chains such as Cafe du Monde earn a significant share of these revenues. To ensure the success of Cafe du Monde, it's essential to monitor the profit margins of the business. Doing so can help the community set sustainable targets.
Hi, I'm Raphael Bonilla, and I want to present a little bit on Group 5's Project Part B, Mode of Entry. So when I think mode of entry, I'm actually thinking about how to get Cafe du Monde's products into the international market. So there are some different modes of entries that has both advantages and disadvantages, and the goal is to weigh them out and see which one is the best for the company. I'll start with direct export. The advantages that first come to mind is, well, a Cafe du Monde can have complete control over the export and the manufacturing process, and the potential profits are greater due to eliminating intermediaries. The downside to this, however, could be costs, could be excessive if we're not experienced at it, and due to Cafe du Monde being a small business, we're not very experienced at doing exporting experience. And we are held completely accountable for the success or failure of our exports in the target market. I'm not sure if Cafe du Monde is ready to take on that amount of of potential loss and accountability. If I move on to indirect export, basically, this is where we could actually use a management company or intermediary in order to get our products overseas. No experience is required. I love that. The management company handles all the permits and paperwork necessary. And the management company assumes all of the overseas risk that having to do with shipping and payment. The downside, however, is that the management company takes control over the overseas market. I'm not a fan of that, which could prevent organizations from gaining valuable knowledge on the markets of interest. And it's difficult to offer after-sale service to the country that we export it to. So there's no way of putting a final stamp on customer satisfaction. And then we have licensing, which is a way for us to have another country or market license our product to sell in their market, and we can get the profits. So the upside to that is it's quick and easy. We don't have to worry about heavy tariff barriers, and the low risk is due to the establishment of our product. The downside, however, low level of control of the day-to-day management of the product, and we run risk of losing some intellectual property due to the autonomy of that foreign market could have over our product. And then we have the foreign direct investment, which the FDI helps stabilize the foreign economy, which benefit the investor in the targeted industry. It creates new jobs. That's great. However, it's more expensive to participate. And as I said earlier, as far as direct investment, due to the business being a small business, probably not a good idea to invest so much of our capital with that method with so many risks. And speaking of risk, the FDI increase risk in that country for political changes. So with everything considered, the group feel as though the best way in order to enter into the market, our targeted market, which is Mexico, is to do it through licensing and franchising. So we'll permit the Mexican authorities to license our product, get popular, sharing the profits, and then if we choose to do something different at a later time, then we can do that, like moving forward. But we want to start by licensing and franchising. Thank you.
Why export? Export will contribute to the company's long-term goals. It'll increase our annual revenue sales. It'll help to expand the company and give us more market share, and it will help us to diversify risk. Where's our product currently selling? Our target market identification identified the top coffee consuming countries. The top 5 being Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark, and the Netherlands. Top coffee exporting countries are Brazil, Vietnam, Germany, Colombia, Honduras, the United States, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Guatemala, and Peru. So where does it make sense for us to export our product? Mexico and Canada are both border countries. They both border the United States, so shipping times would be very short. We wouldn't have to worry as much about expiration dates on our product. It'd be very cost efficient for us to ship to these countries. There's an increasing number of specialty coffee shops that are popping up in Mexico, and Canada is one of the top 25 coffee consuming countries. Finland, Sweden, and Iceland were the top 3 coffee consuming countries per capita. They're located near other large markets. Europe has a lot of countries that are large consumers of coffee coffee products. They have stable economies, and they both have low risk of government turmoil, so we'd have a very low risk in exporting to those countries. For transport, we'll be using a freight forwarder to handle our shipments. They have the know-how and experience with exporting products. They'll be able to verify our paperwork's all correct, and that'll help get us timely deliveries and hopefully some cost efficiencies associated with their knowledge and experience. They're used to dealing with customs, so they know what customs expects and they know customs processes, so hopefully we won't have any hang-ups by using their freight forwarder. And we anticipate the majority of all these shipments going through to Mexico will be via container trucks. We'll box our product into weatherproof shipping containers to protect it from water, moisture, or anything during transit. We'll have 25 packs per box, which we'll be able to put 20 boxes per weatherproof container. Altogether, for one weatherproof container, will hold 500 packs of our coffee. We'll be able to stack those 2 high for a total of 1,000 packs of coffee per pallet per shipment. Our labeling will be the same as it is here in the U.S. So the only exception is we'll have, for our shipments going into Mexico, we'll have 2 sides in English and the other 2 sides will be in Spanish. It'll be the same information, even though we don't need nutritional information, we'll still include that information on the package just as we do here in the U.S. We decided to go with Century Trade International to handle our freight forwarding and work as our export management company. We feel that by hiring them and having them perform both functions, we should be able to eliminate a lot of miscommunication versus using export management company and a freight forwarder where they have to communicate back and forth between the 2 companies. So we're hoping by using Century Trade International that their processes will be streamlined between the freight forwarding and the management side to ensure our products get there in a timely fashion with no hiccups. For our export documents, our shipper's export declaration we'll need for shipments that are over $2,500 US. So if there's a small shipment that we need to send somewhere, we won't necessarily need this, but for larger shipments we will need it. We'll need a shipper's letter of instruction, a commercial invoice, the bill of lading. Airway bills we don't anticipate we'll need much. The only time we should need this is if we have a customer that wants a rush order and we need to air freight some product over to him. But for the most part, we shouldn't need airway bills. The packing list, certificate of origin, counselor invoice, inspection certificate, dock and warehouse receipts, insurance certificate, and a valid export license we will need as well.
Hello, my name is Elisa Jolie, and I'm going to tell you why our company should export into Mexico and the necessary actions we need to take. In order for our coffee to be exported into Mexico, we need to follow 3 acts, which are the Plant Protection Act, the Customs Act, and the Food Sanitation Act. In order for us to pass the requirements, our product must be inspected before and after arriving into Mexico. Our product also needs to be labeled accurately and up to date. Our company will also have to translate our labeling into Spanish, which will cost nothing. Our unique flavor will stand out in the Mexican culture. They are known for their rich and exciting flavors, so our company will add a little bit of extra kick to our coffee, but it will still have this genuine rich flavor. Coffee is enjoyed in Mexico throughout all times of the year. Exporting our product into Mexico will give us global attention, which will jump kick the competition, which our coffee will stand out in. It will also provide market share increase. With the new attention, it will require more production, which will cause for us increasing our production facilities and employees. We predict that our revenues will increase by 5% in 2 years. Mexico is a perfect place for us to export our coffee. Thank you for listening to our presentation.